I'm gonna use a baseball term here. Farm system. I think the Cowboys on the interior offensive line have a legitimate farm system to sustain success. Baseball people, y'all can explain this better than me. Farm system is the minor leagues, right? Like all the young players, you draft guys high, they sit in the minor leagues and they get called up. NFL doesn't have that, but their reserves, they can do that. And the Cowboys love to build said farm system, or try to. And I think they have a handful of guys who has potential and traits to sustain success, whether that be a certain center that left or whether that be because a certain guard may leave in the next few years. He dropped 5 and said, Sky, what's happening? Great show, man. But if BB don't win that job, I'm going to be in shambles. They could have just gave me my wide receiver. And the job he's talking about, of course, obviously, is a center position. Cooper Beebe versus Brock Hoffman. Ooh. So landlord, right? Like, I feel you. I'll be disappointed as hell. I ain't gonna be mad at BB. It's a new position. And to be fair, me personally, I looked at Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe as 2025 and beyond to really start hitting that upper echelon of their play anyway. But yeah, you could have got a different position to contribute now. But that might be a little short-sighted, right? Like if he doesn't win it in week 1, a wide receiver wasn't going to be wide receiver 2 in week 1 probably. Maybe wide receiver 3. Sure. Yeah, maybe. But wide receivers, they come in a little faster nowadays. That's true. No doubt about it. And they are very important. You needed a center too. Right? You needed a center too. And I know you was on the wide receiver train heavy, right? And I get it, right? And I said, yeah, sure, we could use an extra weapon. Absolutely. Especially when you look at the prospects of potentially not having a legitimate number 2 moving forward. But if I had to rank receiver and center, wasn't even close to me, my boy. Wasn't even close to me. Because I've seen Dak be an MVP candidate with the same wide receiver core, with the guy who they didn't know how to use at first, and then he caught on in Brandon Cooks, with a guy at the tight end position who I'm gonna include in weapons, who I think now they understand is that dude in a weapon. Turpin getting more involved. Jalen Brooks, second year. Jalen Tolbert, I think is gonna be better than a Michael Gallup. This wide receiving core is good enough to go out there and win. Was your interior offensive line? I don't think so. Was your center? Hell no. Was your run game? Nah, which partial to offensive line play, right? So I just thought it was just so important to get a center that can elevate your offensive line. How much? We'll see. But if it doesn't win it, like you said, it ain't gonna elevate it at all. But that's where I was at with it, landlord. I understood the need for wide receiver. Hell, I put it up there in my top 5 of needs, but clearly number 1 was center, offensive line. I think you needed it. When Mike Zimmer's name first popped up as a candidate, we're not even talking about him being hired, just flat out as a candidate, the first thing that a lot of people thought about when they started to remember what Mike Zimmer did, or they might have did some digging, was what, y'all? The double A gap blitz, or the double A gap mug. These simulated pressures, the thing that he's most famous for, the thing that he's perfected to the point where most of the league has mocked it, has tried to put their own spin on it. Essentially, it's been duplicated. Now, I don't know that he's the innovator here, but he perfected it. And I think what makes Mike Zimmer's double A gap, the split mug, the simulated pressure look, what I think makes his so special is that, the way he's able to mirror a quality look behind it, right? He's able to tie these things together from the front to, obviously the linebackers, to the secondary, all the way to the safeties, not just the corners. And we've shown plenty of film throughout the offseason on what he loves to do. And here's another example. And we looked at this a while back as well. But just like John Gruden said, all right, he likes to mug the A gaps, and he'll bring his safety up here. We showed this last week, right? Sometimes that safety will come, sometimes he will not. And what you have is you got the split mug look with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys up front. Now you might say, well, Sky, they got 7 on 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They do, right? So you can keep this tight end in and you can keep this back in and you got to max protect. But now you're going to send 2 guys out to cover, or 2 guys out in the sea of what we call sometimes 5 or 6 or 6 or 7 if they fall back. That's the beautiful thing about this. You never know what they're going to do. And this is what's interesting here. I'm going to pause it and let this go. But remember when Micah said he does a lot of more twists and stunts? He's not really talking about literal twists and stunts. He's talking about messing with these quarterbacks' heads. And obviously, we always focus on the linebackers, right? Well, one guy will fall back right here, right? The center takes a step to the right. Kendrick blitzes. And then you got Anthony Barr, who's going to fall back into his hook zone area to take away anything in that area. But what you don't really see here is, hey, y'all, that's Everson Griffin. Now, look, I'm not saying I want to see DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons dropping back a whole lot. I don't. Not a whole lot. But from time to time to confuse quarterbacks, to confuse offensive linemen, okay. Or whoever this may be. Maybe it's Sam, maybe whoever it is. But Everson Griffin is their B guy. Their A guy is Danielle Hunter. So let's pretend this is Micah actually rushing, and this is DeMarcus Lawrence falling back. But you'll see why him just falling back helps. Anyway, let the play run. And now I get a one-on-one with my blitzing linebacker, which this could be Micah, this could be Kendrick, this could be Demo. If it's Leah Fowley, all of them can blow this up. And I get a free rusher. And this is why I think you get a free rusher. And why I think, this question here that I'm going to pose to you could be interesting. We're going to get a whole lot more wide 9 technique looks, right? Now, he's not technically there, but he is. The wide 9 technique is going to have the defensive end aligning way outside, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on that tackle. And if that offensive tackle picks and chooses the wrong one, which normally you're supposed to pick the inside guy, and if the blitzer does come, and he did here, in Harrison Smith, you're going to get a free rusher. It's just the way it happens. So, that's the split mug look that happens. And I say all that to say, or pose this next buy or sell thing here. Buy or sell Mike Zimmer will have the greatest effect on the linebackers. Now, maybe I'm leading the witness a little bit here, but I like to say, I like to think, I should say, I've been fair this offseason in showing Zimmer's effect on the defensive line, Zimmer's effect obviously on the backers, and Zimmer's effect on the defensive backs.
Hey, Skywalker, how are you today?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, I love your show, man. First time caller, long time listener. And I'm trying to do my YouTube channel the way that you do yours. I love the way you design things, man. If I could just get 10% of what your knowledge is on that, I'd be winning. But I think you're onto something here. And I do feel like that Zimmer is going to save Mike McCarthy's job. I really do. There's something that's going to happen this year that's going to be special.
It's so interesting because a lot of conversation. What's your name, my man?
Hey, yes, my name is Braun. I'm Commish Gaming and Sports in your chat.
Your name? Okay, I know you are in the chat. Your name is Braun, so I got to call you Braun. It's a WWE thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Braun.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring that up because a lot of the conversation is Mike Zimmer is going to take over Mike McCarthy's job, right? Because a lot of people have Mike McCarthy's on a 1-year deal. He's on his way out, and Zim has the family ties to the Joneses. But this very well could be a situation like it was with Dan Quinn, where Quinn, in a way, kind of helped save McCarthy in 2022 where he was on the hot seat with the defensive performance that he had in the playoffs and during the regular season. So I see it. I definitely see what you're saying here with Zim potentially saving his job, but boy, that's going to come down to the playoffs, right?
100%. And man, as a fan, as an old cat that saw the Super Bowl wins when I was in my early 20s, I want to see the team succeed. But it'll be interesting to see how the year plays out. I'd like for them to get their extensions done with these guys, just so that as a fan we don't have to talk about this anymore, and we can just figure out where we're going to go from there. But I love what you're doing. You're an inspiring YouTuber for me.
Man, thank you.
It makes me want to be better at what I do, and just keep up the good work.
Heavy, man. Thank you, Braun, for the kind words, and I'll keep on keeping on for you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, bye.